Black Americans are sitting on a $2 trillion economy in 2026. $2 trillion. That's more than the entire GDP of Australia, more than Spain, more than Saudi Arabia. We are literally richer than entire countries, and most of us don't even realize it. But here's the part that's going to make you pause the video and stare at the ceiling. The average black household net worth? About $24,000. The average white household? $190,000. So we're powering a $2 trillion machine, but somehow we're still broke. How is that even possible? Today we're breaking down the shocking math, exposing the traps that are draining our wallets in real time, and I'm dropping 4 power moves that can literally change the trajectory of your finances and your community. If you're tired of spending and never stacking, stay right here, because this one's going to hit different. Let's start with the flex, because we deserve to understand how powerful we actually are before we talk about what's going wrong. That $2 trillion number comes from Nielsen and Essence Research, and it's not some random projection. It's backed by 48 million plus black consumers who are driving spending growth at twice the rate of the general market. Twice. And there's a reason for that. We're younger on average, more digitally connected, and our cultural influence is off the charts. When black people adopt something, the world follows. That's not opinion. That's documented economic reality. Now let's break it down per person. $2 trillion across 48 million people comes out to roughly $40,000 in annual spending per capita. And within that, black women alone are responsible for over $1 trillion in beauty, health, and education spending. $1 trillion from one demographic. That is power. That is leverage. That is an economic force that should be making boardrooms nervous. And here's the math that really got me. If we recirculated just 5% of that $2 trillion, that's $100 billion flowing through black-owned businesses and community institutions. Economists estimate that kind of recirculation through multiplier effects could create 500,000 jobs and generate $500 billion in community wealth over a decade. 5%. That's all it would take to fundamentally reshape black economics in America. Remember that number because we're coming back to it. Okay, now here's where it gets uncomfortable. Because if we've got all this spending power, why does it feel like we're running on a treadmill financially? Why are so many of us one emergency away from disaster? Let's look at the Federal Reserve data. The average black household has a net worth of about $24,000 to $25,000. The average white household sits around $190,000. That is a 7-to-1 ratio. And it's not because we're not working. It's not because we're not earning. It's because the system is designed to extract wealth from us faster than we can build it. Let me show you how. Trap number 1. Interest rate discrimination. Studies from the National Bureau of Economic Research show that black borrowers pay 1% to 2% higher interest rates than white borrowers, even when they have the same credit score. Same credit, same income, higher rate. Over a 30-year mortgage, that 1% difference can cost you $50,000 to $80,000. That's not a gap. That's a heist happening in plain sight. Trap number 2, targeted consumerism. Corporations spend billions studying black spending habits and then engineering ads designed to trigger impulse purchases. They know what we buy, when we buy it, and exactly how to make us feel like we need it. And it works. The average American household spends about $500 a month on non-essential purchases. Now put that $500 a month on a credit card at 25% APR, which is common for people who've been steered into predatory products. And over 5 years, you're paying over $15,000 just in interest. $15,000 that evaporated into a bank's profit margin. But flip that same $500 into an investment earning 7% annually. In 5 years, you're sitting on over $40,000. Same money, completely different outcome. The difference is where it goes. Trap number 3, and this is the big one: recirculation failure. A dollar circulates in Asian American communities about 28 times before it leaves. In white communities, about 17 times. In black communities, that dollar leaves after 6 hours. 6 hours. Some studies say it circulates fewer than 2 times. Meanwhile, other communities keep money bouncing between their own businesses, their own banks, their own neighborhoods for weeks. So out of that $2 trillion we spend, only about 2% stays in black-owned businesses. 2%. Compare that to roughly 30% in other communities. That means $1.7 trillion a year is flowing directly out of our communities and into corporations that, let's be honest, don't always love us back. And here's the part that really stings. Take the beauty industry. Black hair care is a multi-billion-dollar market. We created it. We drive it. We sustain it. But the majority of black hair care brands are owned by non-black companies, and there are barely any black executives in the C-suites making decisions about products designed for us. We are the consumers. They are the owners. And that gap right there is where the wealth disappears. Now, before this gets too heavy, let me bring it back to something that should make you feel proud. Because despite all of these traps, despite every system working against wealth building, black people are still arguably the most influential economic and cultural force on the planet. Black culture drives over $1 trillion in global markets. Hip-hop alone is a multi-billion-dollar industry that shapes fashion, language, technology, and entertainment worldwide. When a black creator starts a trend on social media, it becomes a global phenomenon within days. Black athletes, musicians, and entrepreneurs generate billions in revenue for industries that didn't even exist 20 years ago. Our influence touches roughly 20% of all U.S. consumer trends across every category. And this isn't new. Remember Black Wall Street in Tulsa? In the early 1900s, the Greenwood District had over 300 black-owned businesses, its own hospitals, schools, and banks. It was one of the wealthiest black communities in American history. And even though it was destroyed, that DNA of entrepreneurship and community economics is still in us. We've gone from Black Wall Street to black billionaires, from excluded from banking to powering a $2 trillion economy. Imagine what happens when we stop letting that money leak out. Economists project that if black-owned businesses doubled from 3 million to 6 million, which is entirely possible given our consumer influence, it would be the single largest wealth creation event in modern American economic history. So now let's talk about what we actually do about all this. Because awareness without action is just entertainment. And I'm not here to entertain you. I'm here to arm you. Here are 4 power moves that can start shifting the math in our favor right now. Power move number 1. Shop black first. Before you hit Amazon or Target, check if a black-owned business sells what you need. Use apps and directories like Official Black Wall Street or buyblack.org. Here's the math. If you redirect just $100 a month to black-owned businesses, that's $1,200 a year. Multiply that by even 1 million households doing the same thing, and you've just injected $1.2 billion into black communities annually. That creates jobs. That builds neighborhoods. That changes everything. Power move number 2. Invest the savings. Every dollar you're not spending on overpriced branded products or impulse buys needs a new job. Put it to work. Open a Roth IRA if you haven't already. Look into index funds or black-led ETFs that align with your values. Here's the math on this one. $200 a month invested at an average 8% return grows to over $100,000 in 15 years. $100,000. That's generational wealth starter money from $200 a month. Most of us spend more than that on subscriptions we forgot we had. Power move number 3. Build ownership circles. This is the modern version of the SUSU, the rotating savings groups that communities of color have used for generations. Get 10 people you trust. Each person contributes $100 a month. That's $12,000 a year pooled together. Use it to invest in real estate, fund a startup, or build an emergency fund that protects the whole group. This is how communities that build wealth actually do it. They pool resources and invest collectively. Power move number 4. Boycott and demand. Your $2 trillion is leverage. Use it. When companies take black dollars but don't hire black employees, promote black leaders, or invest in black communities, speak with your wallet. History proves this works. The Montgomery bus boycott lasted over a year, and it changed laws. Modern campaigns have pushed corporations to pledge billions toward racial equity. We have the power to negotiate better interest rates, demand fair lending, and hold institutions accountable. And if you've been hit with discriminatory rates, file complaints with the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Know your rights under the Equal Credit Opportunity Act. These aren't just suggestions, they're your legal tools. And here's a quick framework to tie it all together. Use the 50-30-20 budget. 50% to needs, 30% to wants, 20% to savings and debt payoff. But here's my add-on. Automate 10% of your income directly to savings before you even see it. Make building wealth as automatic as paying bills. When you don't see it, you don't spend it, and it compounds quietly in the background while you sleep. Look, we've got the $2 trillion power. The question is whether we keep giving it away or start using it like the weapon it is. You don't have to do everything at once. Start with one power move today. Audit your spending this week. Find one Black-owned business to support. Set up that automatic transfer to savings. Just one move. Drop a comment and tell me your biggest takeaway from this video or a financial trap you've already escaped. I want to hear your story because when one of us wins, we all learn. Share this video with someone in your circle who needs to hear it because that $2 trillion only works for us when we all move together. If this fired you up, smash that like button so the algorithm pushes this to more people who need it. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you doing? Hit subscribe and turn on notifications because we're dropping wealth wins every single week. And I promise you, you don't want to miss what's coming next. Let's keep this $2 trillion flowing back to us. I'll see you in the next one.